Okay, Blade fans, as promised, yet another Maxace, relatively recently released, I believe. And just some really neat and unusual and kind of off the beaten path, as I like to say, designs coming out of Maxace. Let's see if we got a label. Yep. So this is the Maxace Ranger, model MRG03. This one is what they're calling green micarta. I think they mean micarta. Gray blade. Let's take a look. Can't trust the box. And we'll do some of our own specs today. No fancy packaging on this one. Just had the knife in a plastic bag when I opened it, and I'll spare you the plastic bag. So yeah, it is kind of a green micarta, and that is kind of a what you might call a canvas micarta. It's smoothly done though. It doesn't have the roughness you usually see. It's a large knife. We're going to measure it up. There are pocket clips on some of these. They haven't yet gone deep carry. It's a substantial clip, plenty of spring. It's smooth on the underside against a relatively smooth micarta or micarta. Interesting orange backspacer, also out of micarta, and a lanyard hole that goes through that backspacer. The clip looks like it's dedicated to the right side of the knife only. Sorry, lefties. Let's take a look at this really interesting kind of wicked blade. Oh yeah, look at that guy. Got a recurve and a long, pointy, sticky blade. Gray coated. Thumb ramp, nicely positioned. Ergonomically, very comfortable. Got some nice jimping on the liner lock. Some very good thickness liners on this. Looks very stable and stout. No movement there at all. Pretty much like a fixed blade. And the action is really nice on bearings. This has not been oiled or adjusted. That's out of the box. And these things are going for like, let's take a peek here. These Ranger knives coming in a variety of colors are going for a flat 60 on White Mountain. There's a few of them that are out of stock, but he said he's reordering. You got some fairly complete specs here, so while you look at the knife, let me just recite those. We can double check them as needed. Got an overall length of 9 inches, so it's a big boy. Closed length of 5.12 inches. Blade length of 3.86. Thickness of the blade 3.8 millimeters. It is out of something called XW42 steel. I'll get to that in a minute. 59 HRC, plain edge, a black, they call it a black stonewash finish. It's kind of a stonewashed gray. And got the green micarta on the handle. Don't have things like thickness. Don't have things, yeah, we do have weight. 4.59 ounces. Okay, 4.59 ounces. And since we did not have a handle thickness given, let's take one. 0.59. So almost 0.6 inches for the thickness. While I got this out, we'll double check the blade stock in millimeters. Well, not quite right. Okay, 3.7, 3.8. Right about what they were saying. Back out just a touch. So, interesting shaped handle. Lots of nice jimping on a fairly simple, straightforward flipper tab. Half a back spacer out of orange, kind of a dark brick orange. At least it's not that shocking iridescent orange. This one will hold nicely in a point down grip because you got a little ramp there on the pommel for your thumb. And it is a pure C kind of a blade for sure. Let's see how much thickness we got on that. Out to the point. Let's get that focus in there. There we go. Fairly thin at the point, not crazy thin, but so that 3.8 millimeters tapers down pretty well. We got a small swedge on the top. Billboarding, we got Maxace in white on the left side, on the show side, and we've got just a little bit on the lock side, just the name of the knife, the Ranger, and the year 2019. That's interesting. So this was made 2 years ago. I'm recording this in March of 2021. Now this steel, the XW42. Let me pull out knife steel compositions here. And this is what we have for what they're calling 42XM instead of XM42. Well, let me get back. Let me do an XW. XW. I think I might have looked that up wrong. XW42. Here we go. So it's the equivalent of D2. There you go again. Getting a lot of different names for D2. The XW42, that's what it looks like when you're looking up these steels. I won't keep that out in front too long. List the complete composition, which I'm not going to give you, but I'll tell you what, if you want to screenshot this, there's the composition for you metallurgists out there. Okay. And equivalent of AISI of D2 steel. So what we got here is pretty much D2 that they're calling XW42. It's made in Sweden by Assab, A-S-S-A-B. So very interesting. First time I've run across this particular steel. And let's verify that I've got the name right. Yeah, it is XW42. If you look up XM42, it's a whole different thing, but we won't get into that. So there's your gray blade. Some nice machining in kind of going along the length of the handle. Texture is nice. It's smooth but not slippery. And in this milled out portion here, we've got maybe a little heavier texture, or what came out as a heavier texture. Ergo-wise, got that choil for the finger in the handle there, and lots of room for the rest of your fingers. Look, I've got that much pommel sticking out after I got a full grip. Holds very well in a cross palm or a saber grip. Can also hold it in a hammer grip, and as I said before, holds very nicely in a point down grip, and the angle of the blade is perpendicular to the forearm, which is what I like to see. All right, let's take a quick look against a few other blades here. We'll start out with the Rat 1, since this is a big one. And you know what? She is bigger than the Rat 1. Let me convince you of that. Yep, it's a good, if I go point to point, it's about a good inch longer overall. And the blade is a good ½ inch longer. So yeah, we've got a big one there. Griptilian. Definitely a smaller blade, so there you are relative to the Griptilian. Well, like they said, 9-inch blade, or 9-inch knife overall. I sometimes refer to the whole thing as a blade, you know, I got this blade, I got that blade. But, wow. So, if we go to that point on the handle, we're actually about 1/8 over 4 inches. If I go to the cutting edge, I've got 4 1/8. So if you're in a restricted zone, and they said 9, forget about that. God, it's 9 1/4. It's a long knife. If you're in an area where they don't allow over 4-inch blades, well, you got a cutting edge of 4 inches. In my state, cutting edge has to be under 4 inches, but I probably will not be carrying this around. Who knows? Because it's sort of jacked up about 1 inch out of the pocket there with this orange thing showing. I don't know. It seems to be all the rage these days. I really don't know why they're doing that. And I've got a beautiful Tucson knife with full orange G10 insert on one side that's probably going to get dyed at some point. Might even send it out to BJ Hill for kind of a workover. He does such great work. If you're not checking out his stuff on Instagram, you're missing something. You can send him your knife and he can rework it into a whole different thing. It's just amazing. He's taken these Rat 1s, gotten rid of the thumb stud, put a hole in the blade, it opens just like a Spyderco. And he does some of the greatest acid washes and black acid washes on the planet, I think. So shout out to BJ Hill. BJ, what is it? Hilltop Knife and Tool, I believe. Check him out on Instagram. That's my plug for BJ for the day. So, we got here the Ranger from Maxace. Coming in at $60. This is a sweet knife in what we'd have to call D2, right? XW42. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe. And I will be back. Take care.